I think it's
Everything
working.
great. And I feel like I had some stuff written down for today. And I'm not sure where I put it. Well, in the meantime, why don't I just hit Eduardo with some questions on the dispensary buyer contact form? Yes, please. Yep. So I'm just finally checking it out right now. And then, so we've got the email. I've noticed sometimes it says, I don't know in the buyer column. And then other times it says yes. Is that just saying, like, we don't know if this is the right email, like if this is the actual buyer, and then alternatively, yes, this is how to reach the buyer?
Um, that was because Joe and me decided it's a simple way to know if it's the right email for the buyer or the
Okay.
people on charge about do the business. Or, that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. And then for the yeses that we have in the column, do we know the name of the person who is the yes?
No,
Okay.
so many of the times in all the cases just have the email, but say vendor or like purchases email,
Yep.
but it's that all they say. They don't give too much information about the people on charge about the purchases.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, that's totally understandable. And then, uh, and then in column B
Mm-hmm.
at the top, I think that Puff LA is in that or what is it? Column B, row 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is maybe supposed to be titled like, did we contact them?
Let me see.
Cool.
Hold on.
Sorry, which doc are we looking at? I should pull this up.
I'm looking at dispensary buyers contact LA.
Okay.
It's on our table of contents. Yeah, if you want to see directly in.
Oh, gracias.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on the column B.
Yep. So see this one right here that's like column B, row 1, and it says Puff LA. I think that Puff LA might have accidentally been like included in this thing. Or I think it was supposed to be in C, but not in B. And then I think B is supposed to be like, what are the yeses and the nos for B underneath that?
Sorry, let me repeat what I understand. Are you asking about what Puff LA it's in the column B? But
Well, the better question that I should have asked is, what does that no or the yes right below it mean?
oh, here.
Yeah, what is column B?
Oh yeah, that columns came from the original format we download. Do you remember when we got the first meeting? You Ben shared with us a link for download this sheet. The only thing I was working on it was and go to the website and see if they have the email of the people of the purchase. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know what exactly means.
Okay, cool. And then I guess my just to kind of go forward to where my thoughts were is I was wondering, like, if we have like who we've contacted and who we haven't. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we haven't contacted any of the ones that we don't know on this list.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was gonna do over the next just like maybe the next week between when I see you guys is I was just gonna grab a couple of these that like you all haven't reached out to and do a little prospecting on my own and just kind of like hunt a couple of these myself and then report back with anything I learn. Like, was I able to get the buyer's number right or name right away? Like going on their website and figuring out what other papers they sold, was that worth my time? just think like I figured I should probably just like run through a process real quick, even if in best case scenario I get an appointment and I send you two in there. Worst case scenario I fall on my face and I learn a couple things. So I was thinking about just grabbing a couple random ones of these and just like whenever I have a quick second, just trying to prospect them and see how that works. So if that sounds good to you guys, and then like maybe I could okay, cool. And then maybe I could if I do reach out to them, I'll just like I'll put something here in column G and I'll say Ben reached out for experiment ? And then if I reach out to them, I'll just put a little notch in the column so you all know. And then just in case you start, if we start outreach, we know like, ooh, maybe like let's not email those guys because they've already gotten an email from one of us. And I'm kind of going to go
really
the whole
like
time.
that.
Yeah, I'm really like that too. Just I'm reading on my notes because I don't want to forget.
Cool. Yep. And I think I'm going to do the old-fashioned way and really just try to pound the phones and see what happens. And like it's been a while since I've called a dispensary cold to sell anything.
Sounds good.
So I think it'll just be good for me to just like relearn what it's like in today's world, and then that'll kind of make me a little bit more effective as we coach ourselves through this.
Awesome, I love it.
Cool. Okay, so that's all I really had on that. I think that those were kind of the two things that I got sent like in the last week or so, was the updated list and then the flyer. Do I owe you guys anything else? Let me see today. MailChimp. Maybe something about MailChimp. If we should, yes. Did I respond to this? Yep. Okay, yep. We were talking about this. So yeah, the more custom of an email that we can get, the better. I have to be honest, when I was a newspaper sales rep, we had access to like, pull things out of our CRM, have it, Joe's the contact, it pulls the email, it did it all automatically for us. And I had a real hard time letting go and trusting the machine to do it right. Because for me personally, and I sell through my own lens, which is also sometimes kind of tricky because I'm probably a little bit harder than most people. But the second that I get an email that's like, hey, Ben, it's got like 2 extra spaces in it, or like something fucked up is on it, and it's just like I can automatically tell. In fact, I have an example. Here, let me get you guys this example. Please don't share this with anybody else. Amy. Okay. I'm forwarding you guys the whole thing. Okay, let me just redact a couple things. I know that you guys are totally cool, but if this person found out I was forwarding her email, she would be really mad at me. So I think I got everything sensitive out of there. Sweetleaf Joe, Sweetleaf Eduardo. Send. Okay. So tell me when you all get this, and then I'll kind of tell you what's going on here and give you like the background of like a real life example.
And you sent this to our emails? Oh, there it is.
I just sent it to your Sweetleaf. Oh, good. It came through? Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Cool. Eduardo, did you get that email I just sent?
Yes, I got it.
Perfect. Okay.
Well, it's from your old employers, huh?
Well, actually, and current employers. I still advise them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a small monthly retainer that I do with them and still help them out. And then this is another group that I work with, which is an ad agency. And we currently do business with Hearst through a different platform, Cannabis Media Council, which is another thing that I'm an advisor for. And so that's the first ding, right? Or actually, the first ding is take a look at the subject. it's got a fucking typo right there in the subject because of the autofill. So like their autofill macro was enhance, insert, whatever, and then clients reach with Hearst Media. And so they obviously prepared an email for a template email for everybody that was categorized as an ad agency in their system. And so immediately it had a typo in it, which I am such a stickler against. Like sales manager Ben saw this when Amy and I were joking about it, and it just made all my spidey senses go off. And then also I just immediately don't read it. Hi, I hope this email finds you well. I'm reaching out as an extension of the account executive team. Who the fuck are you? You're not going to list my name in the fucking thing. This clearly is something that you can cut and paste and send to 100 other people. Delete. And then so that was kind of example number one. Example number two is, and this is a really good reason why we have our CRM and why we stay in touch like we are right now, is because let's say somebody's already having a conversation with one of us, and then they get our template email. It feels like, are we even paying attention? Because this is a very personal sale that we're making right now, and so when you do this, it just kind of is are we just another number? Are we just another thing that's getting blasted? Yeah, what's up, Joe?
So I'm glad that you mentioned this. So Eduardo, this is something that we need to think about also, and it's about being on the same page, because the example, what he's talking about, we just did actually. I've been talking to Dragonfly Wellness, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to do an order," and I think I mentioned it to you, but we don't have a system yet. And so what happened was 2 days after that, they got sent the regular email "Hey, do you guys want to do an order?" And so I was like, oh, we're still just getting this going, but it didn't look good because they're like, wait, why am I getting this email? Are we going to do an order? I've just been talking to Joe, and I was telling him how we're going to get an order in. So yeah, that's something else that as time goes on, as we do this for a longer time, we'll learn to do it better.
Yep, exactly. And I think just using the tools that we have right now, and so Monday is a great tool, but also just keeping the shit in Google Docs, right? And just having a little, here, let me see if I can share this real quick. Where did I put this? Is it still up? Maybe it's not up. Okay, so David, Ash Week. Okay, let me share this. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. And so I'm an advisor. David Downs and I are really old friends. And so I've been an advisor for his SF Lead Week, and now we're getting SF Hash Week, right? And so similar to what you all have kind of started with the Google Doc, right? We have our column of leads to the left. We have the date of when we're thinking, and we keep a little note about that or when we last reached out to them. We have, if you take a look at below row 12, it's who reached out to them, what their name was, what their email was, what are we actually specifically reaching out about, and then we can kind of track it from there. And so this way it's I think Earl Hill is going to be a great lead for this. Oh, David already reached out to them on 4/29. So either I need to reach out to David and say should I be, should I come in through the back, or is hitting them twice going to be confusing? And so this allows us to not step on each other's toes. Like in other organizations, I've had very robust CRMs like Monday or Salesforce or other ones, but for what we're doing right now, and with such a small team, we could just have something like this, and you could almost break it up into a couple groups. Our active people, which will be a nice small group that's nice and easy to track, and then all of our leads. And then we could break up the leads by region so it's not super intimidating. And then it's oh, okay, I was thinking about doing a general blast to all of our LA people. Let's make sure Ben hasn't called these those 5 people he was wanting to, so that we accidentally don't double blast them right now. And so that's kind of a way that we can just keep it low tech and easy for all of us to see where we're at. and then not accidentally send the back-to-back or whatever.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, this is like a great layout. And it's important, and that's the thing that we're trying to figure out now, because Sweetleaf for such a long time was just everything in my head, and now we're trying to figure out the system where it's like, it's not just the Joe show. We got different people moving in different directions independently, and how do we all sort of like keep it all on the same page? So.
Yep, and it's really easy to step on each other's toes. And now with this situation in particular, this is where you need kind of a robust system. But Hearst doesn't have have an excuse because they're on Salesforce. But there should be a note that links the Cannabis Media Council account to the Pheno account, so that like anybody that's like, oh, I want to go prospect Pheno, and they can go look and be like, oh, Pheno is the same thing as Cannabis Media Council. Oh, somebody's already been talking with them this week, and that was actually the case. Like, we had a call with Hearst that morning, and then like that night we got an email from Hearst being like, we think we could help, and it was just like, and then you're usually not going to hear about it. It's going to be them forwarding it internally with LOL, ha ha ha, and it just like. Yeah, and it's just like it feeds in. So anyway, that's kind of a good example of what I'm trying to avoid with the MailChimp. And so I do think that MailChimp and mass email blasting totally has a place. But as much as you all can bear customizing, and even just like coming up with a couple macros, like a basically like a little script that you want the same every single time, but then having a little bit of wiggle room on the top and bottom to actually put a real name or a specific, like just hop on their Instagram and, oh, I saw that you guys just did the gift bag thing, how did that work out for you? Just to kind of like make it just custom, it really goes a long way. And of course it takes 100 times longer, based on if you're about to send 100 emails, you could put them all through MailChimp and do them all the exact same and use the template to fill it out. Or you can go and make each one a little individual, and that, of course, the latter is harder. But again, my kind of secret to success has always just been working harder. So anyway, that's kind of my general thoughts on MailChimp. Useful tool, but requires communication internally, discipline, and an actual tactfulness, because like sometimes maybe it really does make sense just to hit everybody in LA with the same email. Yo, SB blah 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 just passed in LA, and this is what this means. Let us know if you want to talk more about it. Like, we're here to help you with your compassion program. Like that would be an example of, like, let's say a municipality just passed something that like enforces compassion. That would be like a dream scenario for us, in which a blanket email would really make sense to convey the exact same message and wouldn't seem weird. But the blanket sales pitch is like, we just all get hit with so many of them that they just get immediately lost in the fray. Oh, great. And I'm 6 minutes late to my next meeting. So let me hurl one more Molotov cocktail in there before I bounce. I think of you guys as Sweetleaf Joe and Sweetleaf Eduardo. It is your brand. For some reason, the emails are starting to get blinded to me like another sales email. When I see, the email came through from Sweetleaf Eduardo or Sweetleaf Joe, in that bold, how like it doesn't kind of bold like the sender's name. Here, let me pull it up in my inbox.
Yeah, thank you.
I wonder if, because it's weird, like this is totally how I think of you guys. This is your name to me. But for some reason, I'm actually ignoring our emails, because I have to selectively drop balls all day long. On my phone right now, I have 477 unread texts and 722 unlistened to voicemails and missed calls. I am just selectively dropping balls all day long. And so, like, when I'm skimming my email, if anything to me looks like it might be a promotional thing, which usually has the name of the company and the sender, I start to go half blind to it. So even like knowing we're working on our project and like this is something that's on my radar, I'm actively missing emails. And so I don't necessarily have a solution for it, but it was something that like I noticed and was like, ooh, shit, like I'm accidentally ignoring our own emails. And then when I ask myself why, I think it might be just seeing, you know, like, I don't have a good answer, but that name field is very customizable. So like maybe it's I don't know. I don't quite know yet. But just something that is kind of in my head right now that I just kind of noticed myself doing, that I figured, you know, like before we like really do a lot of outreach, maybe we should ask a couple other people and be like, is this just Ben's crazy shit? Because that could totally be it. Or is this actually something that we should be thinking about? And maybe even when we're sending out emails, A/B test, you know, does it work better if it's, you know, you guys' real names? Do we have a better open rate when it's the real name there? Or do we have a better open rate when it says Sweetleaf Joe? You know, and really just start to try to pay attention to those types of metrics and see, you know, what's going on. But just, it might also be good to just ask a couple friendlies and just be like, do you think that my email is easier to ignore with the name like this? And
That's great stuff. That's good to think about.
Yep. And also, like, I am also crazy, right? I mean, you guys have been hanging out with me enough now to know, like, I am personally nuts and very eccentric, and then I have, like, 10 different jobs. So I really do, like, you know, I just juggle a lot, and I drop balls all the time on purpose because I need to juggle the balls that are actually on fire right in front of me. So, anyway, I'm glad we got you.
Hey, I got one quick question for you.
Yeah.
So we're doing the bartender contest with Spark, and we're partnering with Puffco. Originally, we were going to do like the top seller at each store would get a proxy, which is like a $300 pipe. And then Puffco just was like, well, you know, we could do like the 3 top winners. Do you think that there's much difference between doing the top winner or doing the top 3? My thinking is that I don't want to like get 18 prizes out of Puffco and have them be like, okay, we're good for 6 months. Like, you know, I want to do stuff with other stores. So I'm still waiting to hear back from them.
Are you working with Hannah?
No, I'm working with Betsy.
Okay. I just had a call with Hannah today, and they're having a similar conversation with me. It seems like they're really trying to figure out how to get into dispensaries now, and you guys are definitely a way to do that. So I wouldn't be shy in taking a prize 1, 2, and 3, but I would make them different, you know. But we definitely are dealing with a younger generation that, you know, like the employee of the month and the like number 1 winner is often sometimes looked down upon and discouraging, you know, like it's not like very, for lack of a better way to explain it.
Yeah.
And so I personally try to not do competitions internally that I don't at least have like a follow-up prize or even like a participation trophy, you know, for lack of a better thing. Like, hey, we're all going to run towards this goal, and like there will be a winner, but no matter what, everybody's going to get a pizza party or whatever, you know, I mean, whatever it is, you know. But like for us, everybody gets a sample bag every other week, but the sample bags differ in quality based on your performance of those couple of weeks. Did you show up to work on time? How are your sales? Were your display cases organized? You know, yada yada yada. But everybody still gets a sample bag, you know, and that's just really just kind of figuring out how to motivate my like younger culture. Like when coming from a sales background, there was always a clear number 1, and all you wanted to be was number 1. So I thrive off of that. But like in sports, I kind of shied away from it. You know, like I was like, I didn't like being number 1. It was intimidating. It was scary. So I can even kind of relate, you know, like I didn't find my like really hyper competitive nature until I got into business. I'm very competitive with business and sales and stuff, but that's because I think I can compete with myself, and I'm not like physically hitting somebody else, you know, like that. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I reflect on it, it's like, that's what I think. So anyway, if you could get like a proxy and then like, a Puffco sticker pack and a T-shirt, or whatever. Like maybe you don't have to fully exhaust, your 18.
And then maybe what we do is we're giving prizes that are actually promoting Puffco.
Exactly.
Which they want to give away. So they're like, we have all these stickers and T-shirts. Like, yeah, where the hell can we get rid of them?
Yep, they have
That's a great idea.
They have this. They even have this like bud tender wholesale page that I think technically they might already have access to if Spark sells those things. But if they don't, that's also a consolidation prize. Like, hey, here's your special coupon code to get Puffco's at wholesale rate. Thank you for participating. And then Puffco doesn't give a shit. They're selling them, and still making money. But then the bud tender is now getting a Puffco for $150 off, and everybody kind of wins, and it still kind of feels like a prize whether they take advantage of it or not. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't do 3 proxies, but I would do 3 prizes or a prize, and everybody gets a T-shirt or whatever.
That's great advice. Hey, dude, we've kept you so long.
Hey,
let you go.
Yep. Well, you guys know why I missed our last meeting. I like to talk. All right.
Thanks
Send
so
love
much,
to you
man.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you later.
See you next time.